Well, I lied. I said I was going to start doing my show on Sundays until football season. Technically, preseason football started this week, so yes, it is football season. But yes, here we are. It's Saturday night, August 12th at 11:44 p.m. when I've been doing my show. And you're all wondering, why the hell did he say he was going to be doing it on Sundays and then do one on Saturday? Well, I started thinking now, the next 3 weeks, I will be busy on Sunday during the time I usually do my show. And that leaves one Sunday, which is the day before Labor Day, and then football season starts. So I'm still trying to figure out how I might do this. I still wonder if I can. It might mean I might have to get up early, like when I get up at 9 o'clock, instead of going downstairs and hanging out for a few hours, because I don't get going on the weekends till at least 1 o'clock. I take a shower, get dressed, and then do my show early, like 10, 11, 12 o'clock, because tomorrow is community day with Froki, which I want to do with my wife because we like Greninja, and it's a fun thing for the two of us to do together, sort of a day thing. It's not at night. It's from 2 to 5 p.m., which is when I'd be doing the show. Next weekend, we're going to dinner with my dad and stepmom. It was going to do on a Saturday, but then my daughters and mom and son have a scout thing in the morning, and I don't know if they're going to want to, be up for going out to dinner later in the day. So I figured just give us a free day and we'll go out. So Sunday I have dinner, and they want to have dinner at 3 o'clock. So I have that. And then the weekend after that is we're going to the Orioles baseball game against the Rockies that my wife's company, McCormick, is doing. I said in lieu of their Hershey Park picnic, they're doing an Orioles picnic thing. And that leads us to the Sunday before Labor Day, and then the first Sunday in football season, and at least close to my 10th year anniversary in the show is in between that 9th and 16th windows. It's around that time. So it looks like I'll be doing this show now on Saturdays again, which sucks, but we'll see. Speaking of the Ravens, well, actually, speaking of the Orioles, but the Ravens won their preseason game, their first one this season, 20-19 over the Eagles, which leads their 24 straight preseason game wins. They haven't lost a preseason game in 2,900 days. So that's interesting. Since 2016, I think was the last time they did that. So that was kind of interesting. I wasn't going to try this, but I figured I had nothing else to choose from. I'm not the biggest tropical fruit fan, but this is Mountain Dew Baja Passion Fruit Punch. Purple flavor, got some Ravens colors. I wanted something to drink. I'm probably going to regret it because I don't like tropical stuff. Yeah, first off the bat, it smells very papaya-ish. So let's see what happens here. Excuse me. It's not bad, but it's very tropical flavored. And as I said, I'm not a big tropical fan, but it's not overwhelmingly tropical. It tastes almost pineapple, but I know that that's not it. I know because it's passion fruit. It's not bad. So if you like the tropical sort of flavors, then go for it. I'm not a big tropical fan anyway. But yeah, that's what's going on. So preseason football started. The Washington Commanders won their game 19-17 over the Browns. Those are the two teams that I follow because my wife is a Commanders fan. So we got that going on. There's some interesting baseball notes coming up. There's a lot of fall stuff rolling through here because, hey, we're getting there. It's about almost a month to fall, a month and a week to fall, roughly a month and 2 weeks, a month and a week. Yeah, about a month and a week to fall. I think it was 40 days I saw to fall. But we're going to start seeing a lot more fall stuff, though, rolling out here soon, and that makes their way into the story here. I've got some animal stories. Wayne Brady has an interesting thing he states. Despite the fact that the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes are still going on, productions are still being cast and set up for after what happens. So we'll see. We got some of those things coming up over here. Sort of market. Yeah, a lot of animal stuff. Taylor Swift actually makes her first appearance. Well, maybe not first appearance, but her appearance in the show. Lego pops up in here. More movies being moving dates. Two really hot actresses are on the market again, which I'll tell you about in a second. And yeah, a lot of Halloween stuff, some video game stuff, Miss Marvel, Storms. My wife and daughter are up in Philadelphia for a camping trip for Scouts. They'll be back tomorrow. My son went to his friend's house, spent the night last night into today. So I had last night free to myself, which is cool. Watched a couple movies. Jurassic Park is rolling through here. Some follow-ups on last week's stories. So let's get on with it because since it is late and I'm kind of want to get to bed sooner than later. Let's get moving here. So the big news this week is Hawaii is on fire. They had apparently a typhoon was off the coast of Hawaii, but didn't come close to hitting it. But it still registered the heavy winds and not any of the rain, though. And the heavy winds caused dry stuff to, fire and dry stuff, how wildfires start. Massive wildfire hit Hawaii and hit Maui, I think. It hit pretty good, so it burned a lot of that down. So even places like Hawaii are not immune to wildfires. So this is like the third wildfire of this season here, and it's getting kind of scary. It's climate stuff, and the Republicans refuse to admit anything about climate change, but this is definite results of it is the increase in the fires like that. So prayers to everybody out there in Hawaii. On a lighter side of the note, Barbie is still the hottest movie of the summer, pretty much of the year, really. And since it is a toy, Mattel has jumped right on the bandwagon here. They are the creators of Barbie, or anyway, the ones that produce it anyway. But they've released the Mojo Dojo Casa House Ken, which if you've seen the movie, you know what that is. And the Weird Barbie are now for sale by Mattel. So if you want to get them, you absolutely can now. Oppenheimer also is continuing its trek, and I think it is now one of the highest grossing R-rated films of all time now also. So that continues to be really, really good. An exhibit on the Titanic is making its way to Washington, D.C. this fall. I've heard stories about these Titanic exhibits. In fact, Zach Bagans and his Ghost Hunters crew. Oh, it's Ghost Hunters. It's Ghost, whatever his show was. But they're ghost hunters for the most part. They went to one of these Titanic exhibits and did a night thing to see if any ghosts or they made contact with anyone because there are artifacts from the Titanic there. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition, if any ghosts are attached to it. But an exhibit will be coming to DC for those who want to see some Titanic stuff and not go into a little underground submarine and end up dying. So moving on. Butterscotch Kit Kats is the newest Kit Kat flavor. Sounds kind of interesting-ish to me, but I still kind of like it. Jennifer Lawrence will be starring in Andy Serkis' sci-fi epic for Netflix once the strikes are over. It's good to see Jennifer Lawrence came back into some sci-fi with Andy Serkis directing it. He directed Venom 2. It'll be fun to see what he's got planned for that going on there. Carolina Reaper blazing gummy bears are a thing. So I guess if you want your blazing hot gummy bears, you can get them now out and about. Probably more specialized shop. I don't think you're going to see them like at a local grocery store or anything like that. Hitman video game company, which is the company that created Grand Theft Auto and other ones, is set to do, I think they also did Red Dead Redemption also, which we'll get into a little bit about that in a second. But they have the rights to do a James Bond video game, And they said they're going to use the first James Bond, which I'm assuming means that it'll be the character in the video game will be based on the Sean Connery James Bond from Dr. No, which was the first James Bond movie ever made. A follow-up, actually, before that, Dwayne Johnson and Margot Robbie to star in also a sci-fi adventure coming up after they'll be working on it after the strikes are over. So sci-fi is still kind of hot and big and still rolling through here, so that's good. Taylor Swift is rumored to be playing Dazzler in Deadpool 3. Again, take that with a grain of salt. I'm not so sure about that. Some bad news. It looks like Adam Driver is back on talks to be Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie, which I think is an absolute fucking disaster. And I think it's lousy. And he says that once the strike ends, they will have discussions with Marvel again. I think it's a disaster. I don't think they should do that at all. And they should move on from him. So please, can you? Follow up to something I talked about last week. Last week, I mentioned that Maggie Gyllenhaal and Christian Bale are going to be doing a Bride of Frankenstein movie. And at the time, I thought that seemed kind of odd, and I didn't know if it was a real story or not. But follow up to that, it's been discovered that Maggie Gyllenhaal will also be directing the movie as well, as starring in it. And Christian Bale will also be attached to it as well. Again, once all the strikes are over and done with, this is going to be popping up there as well. Mike Flanagan, who's doing The Haunting of Hill House and a bunch of other stuff like that, said his next priority after the strike is over is to work on the Dark Tower series, which he has given the green light by Stephen King to redo the Dark Tower as TV show, movies, whatever, and do it right. Mike Flanagan's also, his next big thing is The Fall of the House of Usher, which is his next big horror show for Netflix, which is the last thing he did for Netflix before he jumped ship. We get our first poster and some pictures from the show, made its debut this week, and a date, October 12th. We will see The Fall of the House of Usher come to Netflix, so that's kind of cool as well. Baseball, fall. Wayne Brady has come out as pansexual. What that basically means is that he is attracted to everybody. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, gay, straight, trans, don't have a gender, that sort of stuff. He loves everybody equally and is attracted to everybody equally. So that's kind of cool. I know a few pansexuals as well. So that's kind of good. There's Fall House. Yeah, sure. I knew I mentioned that on here too. So we have that as well. Major discovery in the waters of Antarctica. Large creature with 20 arms has been found lurking in the Antarctic Ocean. This is from Yahoo, so it's not a fake story. It's actual proof, and they have pictures of it. And they're calling it the Antarctic strawberry feather star. It is a really quite bizarre looking creature that has never been seen before and is a brand new species. And when I was reading that Yahoo article, at the bottom of the article, they had a bunch of other articles attached to it, which I didn't open, but they had the headlines, which I hadn't heard of about now. And it's because we had this new animal species released. They've had 3 other stories about new species discovered. One was an 8-eyed creature foraging for bamboo, had been found in jungles of China. So that was interesting. A 6-eyed orange goblin-looking creature was found on a remote Japanese island. And a large creature with a blue groin, which is also a new species, has been found in Indonesia. So new species are being found all the time, and that's really excellent. Some real quick sports ball news. This is just kind of interesting little things. The Brewers, which is one of my favorite teams, Orioles are still my favorite team, but I've always liked the Milwaukee Brewers, and they're an NL team, so they don't really affect the Orioles in that way. But the Brewers this year have scored and allowed the same number of runs, 496. So there you have a 0-run differential, which is almost unheard of in this era of baseball. So it's kind of interesting. That's a neat little stat thing. That's kind of neat about that. This week also, a Philadelphia Phillies pitcher threw a no-hitter. What's interesting about that is that 4 pitchers and 4 pitchers only who had played in the majors after attending Fullerton Union High School in Fullerton, California, all 4 have thrown no-hitters in their career in the major leagues. And that's just kind of interesting. So only 4 pitchers came from Fullerton Union High School, pitched there, and made it to the majors. And all 4 of them have had a no-hitter, which is also another, not impossible, but it's a really hard thing to do. So that's kind of a neat little side story as well. Supermarket is closed over fears of a spider capable of causing a permanent erection, which I think is perfect. It was right at midnight. It is August 13th. So midnight's the right time for me to bring up these sort of weird things. So there's a spider that was discovered at a supermarket that if you get bitten will cause a permanent erection, which at first sounds pretty cool. But after a while you start thinking about it, it's like when you wake up, well, not you women because you don't have it, but when men wake up with what they call morning wood, which happens to everybody, and you have to go to the bathroom, it's not very comfortable to do that with an erection. So to have a permanent erection, and the fact is also it's a little sensitive also. So if it bumps into stuff, it's going to hurt. Even the slightest little thing is going to make it hurt. So that's kind of scary. A honey badger was rescued from a python by 2 jackals. Then the honey badger decided he wanted to eat the python, so he fought the jackals who just saved him from the python so he can eat the python, because the jackals want to eat the python also. The animal kingdom is weird. Again, another animal story coming up a little later in the show. We'll cover it then. So now it is time to begin on this page. The first bit of fall is coming news. First up, apple pie shake is available at A&W. It's not pumpkin spice, but it's an apple pie shake. It's pretty good. We made in college, we made an apple pie shooter, apple juice, vodka, and cinnamon in a shooter, and you shoot it, and you get the apple flavor with the heat of the vodka and the taste of cinnamon. It's actually very delicious. And then I saw a reel on Facebook about a dude who discovered a drink where you mix apples, apple cider, green apple vodka, and caramel vodka. You mix it together and you get like almost a sangria, but without the wine in it. That tastes like caramel apple. And that sounds like an interesting little thing to do. So apple pie shake is now going to be available at the A&W, but pumpkin spice is still the ruler of everything. And pumpkin spice stuff has started to trickle out a little bit, which shows that fall is slowly taking over the last half of summer here. Bagels, Pop-Tarts, empanadas, Krispy Kreme donuts, Dunkin' Coffee have all got pumpkin spice stuff coming out this past week or this upcoming week coming up. The pumpkin spice latte is not available yet at Dunkin', but if you want to get, go to the grocery store and get the Dunkin' coffee, it's already ground in the coffee section. The pumpkin spice coffee should be making its way there very shortly. The bagels, which I've had before, okay, they're not great. They're okay. The pumpkin spice Pop-Tarts are actually pretty interesting, and pumpkin spice empanadas, I don't even want to know what that is. And the Krispy Kreme donuts, of course, is always good as well. And once September hits, Dunkin' will do their pumpkin spice stuff as well. Though it's funny, my radio station's been playing their Halloween commercials from last year for Dunkin', which doesn't make any sense. So whatever. And because this week's episode is called A Swedish Halloween, the reason why is because IKEA, for the first time ever, is releasing a Halloween collection in their shops. So check out how Swedish people do Halloween by checking out the IKEA Halloween collection, which I think is out now. I don't know. the closest IKEA to me is out in White Marsh, and that's a little bit of a hike. And I'm not a big IKEA fan anyway, but it's kind of interesting to see that they, for the first time ever, are doing a Halloween collection. So pretty cool. I guess they know that Halloween's a big freaking deal. Deaths this week. Robbie Robertson, rock legend, one of the main lead creators of the band, died this week. Johnny Hardwick, the voice of Dale on King of the Hill, died this week as well. And Hiroyuki Takazawa, a manga creator, died this week as well. Anniversaries, we got some really good 1980s movies anniversaries out this week. First up, The Abyss from 1989, so 89, 99, 2009, 2019. That makes it 34 years ago. 89, 99, 2009, 2019, 2022, 23. Yep, 34 years ago. The Abyss came out. James Cameron's probably one of his best movies that is underseen, underrated. If you can have an underrated James Cameron movie, it would probably be The Abyss. Real Genius, one of my wife's favorite movies, and hell, one of my favorite movies of all time, with Val Kilmer being absolutely relaxed and having a blast making the film. Came out in 1985 this week, so 85, 95, 2005, 2015. So 2025 will be the 40th anniversary, so 38 years ago this week. Yep. One Crazy Summer, which is a great John Cusack film he did with Savage Steve Holland, one of their crazy, bizarre ones. This one has, to me, more along for the ride, is an outstandingly funny, not as weird and bizarre as Better Off Dead, but it has a very same vibe as Better Off Dead. This one is 37 years old this week, came out in 1986. Red Dawn came out 39 years ago this week. That's the one where the Russians invaded America, and a bunch of high school students led by Jennifer Grey and Patrick Stewart and C. Thomas Howell, I think, is involved with that, and came and stopped them. And a film that not a lot of people know about. 84, let's see, that'd be 39 years also. And a film that I know mostly about due to, a lot of this time where I've talked about a lot of these movies, that when we got cable in the early 80s, cable needed to fill and we had HBO had to fill their slots with movies. And they would repeat the movies like 3 times a week, 3 times a day, just to fill up their lineups. They didn't have enough movies to fill up a full 24 hours, but they needed to keep it 24 hours. So they had to do that. So one of those films is Cloak and Dagger, which is 39 years this week as well. Dabney Coleman and Henry Thomas. And it's a weird, bizarre film about Henry Thomas, the kid from E.T., who has an imaginary friend who is this super spy who's played by Dabney Coleman. And the kid gets involved in a real spy case. And his dad, who also looks like Dabney Coleman, somehow gets involved with it as well. I remember it as a kid. I don't remember it much as an adult because I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but it was one of the movies I watched all the time. And the fact that I don't remember a lot of it is driving me crazy, but it is a movie that did come out at one time. And finally, in a later year, a more recent, it's not more recent, it's 25 years ago this week, Drew Barrymore's Cinderella story, Ever After, popped up this week as well. Since I only have one anniversary on this page, which is crazy, My Science Project, which is a movie I don't really remember much about. It has something to do with creating a nuclear bomb or something like that, I think, and people want it. Came out in 1985, which again is 38 years ago. So there's that. Speaking of Dunkin's spiked teas are now out in cans and 6-packs. I don't know if they're alcoholic, but they are iced tea cans from Dunkin'. So, I mean, spiked usually means that they are alcohol related, but I just saw a picture of them and I didn't know exactly what it was. Do me a favor. Well, you can't. This is live, but after the show, that's a good idea. How about that? After the show, I think I'm going to do it also. Walk outside of your house and look up. The Perseid meteor shower is this weekend, and it is considered one of the best meteor showers of the year. It's one that it has no set point, and you can really see it in any direction as long as there's not a lot of light pollution. I think the Perseids are some of the ones that I've seen before, but it's an interesting meteor shower is out there going on right now, and this is probably the ideal time to do it. It's good because the moon is very not bright, so that's not going to be blocked out by that. So if you can find a place that has very little light contamination, look up. You should see some asteroids. I think I am going to go out there after the show. Maybe that's why they want me to do. Why I decided to do the show tonight, so I can go out there and do that. Largest search for the Loch Ness Monster in over 50 years is being planned right now, so that's pretty cool about that. Some more fall stuff. Chocolate Lucky Charms limited edition haunted marshmallows are going to be coming out here really soon. Halloween Oreos are going to be rolling out here very soon as well. And M&M's Ghoul Mix Sugar Cookie Dough is also on its way out as well. Let me see if there's any other fall stuff to connect it all together. Nope. That appears to be all the fall stuff on this page. Now, Twisted Metal, the show on Peacock, has been breaking records for Peacock. So good job for that as well. Barbie Beach House theme park will be opening in 2024. So that's pretty good for you as well. Some Christmas news. A Charlie Brown Christmas live action play will be coming to Baltimore, the Lyric Opera House, this Christmas. I've never seen a live version of a Christmas Charlie Brown Christmas, but that could be interesting to see that, particularly for your family. And on the complete opposite spectrum, Werewolf Santa is an actual movie that will be coming out in actual theaters later this year as well. One movie that will not be coming out anytime soon is Deadpool 3 has been removed from Disney's schedule right now due to the strikes. I'm assuming it was set to start off the summer of 2024 with the first weekend in May during Free Comic Book Day weekend. But right now it is off the schedule. Could it go back on the schedule? Sure. But they have stopped filming it, and it all depends if they can get it filmed and ready in time for that debut. If they can't, I don't know what's going to happen. So they might be looking at that, and they might then decide to move the Marvels, the Captain Marvel movie, to May, which would be awful if they did that, because I want to see it now. But we'll see. Or see it in November will be good too. Another follow-up to a story from last week. Last week I said that Gal Gadot is said to have been talks with James Gunn and Safran to bring Wonder Woman 3 to the Gunn DC universe. That has been disputed. It is said that Wonder Woman 3 is not in development with Gunn and Safran right now. So that turned out to be a big fat no. Is it still possible? Could be, absolutely, but right now it is not. Pokemon Path to the Peak. It's a short animated series about a young girl joining a Pokemon card club, and it's going to be more about Pokemon cards than actual Pokemon themselves. So that's kind of cool. A brand new South Park video game is coming. Don't know if it's going to be added to this year's outstanding total of video games that have come out this year, or if it's going to jump to next year, but it's going to be called South Park Snow Day. And it looks like Cartman is able to bring down the snow on South Park so bad that they shut down schools. And so a snow day develops. They had a trailer released for that this week announcing it. So I think I showed some of the gameplay as well. Austin, Texas will be opening Bela Lugosi's Vampire Museum called Lugosi's Vampire Museum, which is an odd place to do it, but it's Austin, Texas, so why not? That's pretty cool. Millie Bobby Brown's Netflix film Damsel, which has come out later this year, has been pushed to 2024. Due again to the strike and stuff like that. Welcome to Wrexham Season 2 trailer was released this week. This will be on Netflix on September 12th. Vacation Friends 2 trailer, John Cena film, sequel to previous film, is getting a sequel, and the trailer came out this week. I didn't really watch because I don't really care much about it. The franchise Marvel DC parody series is coming to Max from writers of Succession and Veep. So I don't know. I guess they think that it'd be cool to make fun of comic book movies and stuff like that. So you got writers of two of the best shows out there recently to do this. So hopefully they'll give it, they won't, be total blasting it. So we'll see about that. Bacon cotton candy is a thing. Cotton candy tastes like bacon. Lego apparently is going to have a collaboration with Fortnite. I don't know anything about it. The rumor has it that it might be a full season's worth of stuff, which I think would be a little too much. But there is going to be a collaboration eventually, they say, with Fortnite. The House of Lee teaser trailer for a new Bruce Lee anime was released this week as well. So it's interesting to do an anime based on Bruce Lee, but it's kind of cool though. Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary has already come and gone. It was back in June, but the film people decide that one last gasp right before school starts, they're going to re-release Jurassic Park to movie theaters on my son's birthday, August 25th, and they're going to re-release it in 3D. So if you want to go see Jurassic Park in 3D, check your local listings. It is due out on August 25th. Honeydew Melon Mountain Dew is a new Mountain Dew flavor that is only available in Canada. So we have passion fruit punch and they have honeydew. That would be another weird flavor one also. Black Clover has a stage play. That's something that usually happens over in Japan a lot, is the animes and mangas tend to also have stage plays as well as animes and other stuff as well. But Black Clover has one as well. The Mist is going to get a 4K DVD re-release, which will have both the full color and the black and white one. People say the black and white one is a whole lot better. It's a lot more atmospheric. And it's Frank Darabont directing it. So I'd like to check that out. I think it'd be kind of interesting to pick that up when that rolls out there. A bear crashes a wedding and helps itself to the dessert table. Bears like to come to weddings also, apparently. The James Webb telescope takes a picture of what appears to be a question mark in the middle of outer space, which is, I think they showed it was two galaxies or weird as that, but it looks like a question mark. So, of course, the crazy conspiracy theory assholes out there are now saying this is proof that we live in a simulation, which is a story that's been coming out since The Matrix came out, which is kind of funny since before The Matrix came out, there was no conspiracy theory that we were living in a simulation. They thought this was life. But now you see lots of videos about, how we're trapped in the Matrix or how we're actually in the Matrix. And here's proof of it. You see weird pictures and stuff like that. Well, they are claiming that this is what this is as well. But it is a really interesting picture, and it does look like a question mark in outer space. But I believe it is just a galaxy, and it's kind of interesting to see how they don't know how it formed, but it is a very interesting picture. And the James Webb Telescope is doing a phenomenal job when it comes to that. A hawk drops a snake on a woman, and then both animals attack the woman. Here's your other crazy animal story for this week. Both involving snakes. So interesting. But that's got to be messed up. You're just sitting around and a hawk's flying overhead and drops a snake that was probably going to eat on you, and you're freaking out about that. And then the hawk comes flying at you as the snake's attacking you also. It must be really frightening and messed up. Two Bigfoots have been spotted in Yellowstone National Park, which is kind of cool because Yellowstone National Park is Yellowstone National Park. And to have Bigfoot sightings in a national park like that is really quite cool. So that's really awesome about that. Different people from California and Italy captured the same UFO picture flying above the moon this week as well. So from two different areas of the country, California, Italy over here, both taking pictures of the moon, both get pictures of the UFO, which I guess you got to think about, because of the time change, the Italian people must have seen it first, and then the California ones, and it's like probably a 6 hour, 7 hour, 8 hour difference between East Coast and Italy. So you're looking at a 12 sort of hour. It's weird. I don't know, but I'm not sure how true that is now I think about it. But the fact that two different people from two different countries take the same UFO picture above the moon, I mean, not necessarily it's the same exact picture, but they do have a alien picture circling the moon. Two of the hottest actresses out there that I found myself fantasizing about on my own, but you don't need to know about that over the years. Natalie Portman and Anne Hathaway are both single and on the market. Natalie Portman has divorced her husband, and Anne Hathaway, to be fair, is only separated from her husband. They still might be able to work it out, but as of now, they are both on the market now. And yeah. Moving on. Oh, brother. What do we got here? The Bass Reeves trailer, which is a spinoff from Yellowstone about a black lawman in the late 1800s, early 1900s, got its first trailer this week. The Continental, the prequel to the John Wick stuff with Mel Gibson in it, got a full trailer this week as well. Not really interested in either of those, to be honest. Like that. The Changeling, a horror movie, TV show, whatever. Also, it's a TV show. It's on Apple Plus. Got its first trailer as well this week. Again, don't really care much about it because I'm not watching it. Any other trailers here? Nope. Jujutsu Kaisen, one of the more popular animes right now, is the most recent anime to come to Fortnite after My Hero Academia and Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. We now have a Jujutsu Kaisen. We're in the middle of the Jujutsu Kaisen bit with a mini battle pass like we did with Star Wars earlier this year. They're doing it with Jujutsu Kaisen, and supposedly Doctor Who is going to have a similar one back in December and January. So I'll keep them dead. There's this Control trailer. Kevin Spacey traps a woman in a smart car. Again, didn't watch it, didn't care much about it, but hey, Kevin Spacey's coming back in movie theaters. Scarlet and Violet Pokemon will be coming to Pokemon Go in the new Pokemon Go season, which starts in September. So that's good for that. Ridley Scott regrets directing Alien Covenant over directing Blade Runner 2049. Okay, sure, if you say so. This week, Mega Millions had their $1.58 billion jackpot. It was run by someone in Florida. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, it was 2 weeks ago, the $1.5 billion Powerball was won by somebody in California. And if you go back and look at who've won all the big lottery winners are from California and Florida. So it was no big fucking surprise that they won, considering they always win. And it makes you think even more that it is affixed in some way or another. Still not thinking it is, but still you got to start thinking about, it seems to be. Chiwetel Ejiofor to be playing a villain in Venom 3. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cake Bites is a thing now you can get right now if you want to get into that. This fall, Jeopardy is coming back to television, but because of the writer's strike, they are going to be recycling previous season's questions. You've got a long years to go back to, but they'll be doing that as well. An Italian man dies after being crushed by thousands of wheels of cheese. It's sad the man died, but it's one of those really bizarre death things that you don't really hear that much about. Being crushed by thousands of wheels of cheese is kind of scary, and that's the way you die. That's kind of crazy. A mom accidentally hired a Barbie stripper for her 5-year-old daughter's birthday instead of a Barbie's actress to come and play Barbie because of the whole Barbie stuff. So that's kind of crazy. Let's see. Hilo Book 10 revealed. Hilo is a young adult graphic novel written by Judd Winnick, written and drawn by Judd Winnick. And, I've been reading all of them. My son has lost interest in it, but I'm still invested in it. And Book 10 is due out February 27th, 2024, and is revealed The Rise of the Cat. So that is, if you've read Hilo, you know what I'm talking about, what the story is going to be about. So that's kind of cool. The sexy Jennifer Lawrence film No Hard Feelings is due out on Blu-ray August 29th. So if you did not catch it in movie theaters, you will be able to now. In some local news, a massive storm rolled through my area Monday, I believe. And I posted some video on my Instagram, excuse me, and Facebook. And the trees were bending. I haven't seen that before. Heavy wind, heavy rain, some thunder and lightning. But we got away unscathed. We had a flicker of electricity going out for a little bit and coming back on, but no other problems. But neighborhoods around Reisterstown, they lost power for about 2 days, which was interesting. And then the worst part is 140, which is a road that takes you all the way up into Westminster. There's a stretch of 140 up there near 97, which I've gone on a few times, where every single power line was knocked down. I mean, every single one. There was like 10 of them were all on the roadway. So needless to say, Westminster lost their power. I don't even know they've gotten it back yet. My friend Sarah, who I work with at work, she said as of Friday, her power was still out. So hopefully this weekend they got it back. But it was a bad storm that rolled up here around 5 o'clock. And the funny thing is I had to go to the grocery store. And it was getting dark when I went into the grocery store. I got my groceries. And as I was driving back home, it was getting to be pitch black out, and the wind was starting to pick up a little bit and little drops of rain, but nothing major. I got home, got the groceries in the house, closed the door, and then when I went back to put my keys back on the key ring, the heavens unloaded, and that's when the storm hit. So I just made it home before the storm hit. So that was crazy. So that was wild. So that was a wild night there. The Marvel Studios visual effects artists are going to be unionizing. Good for them. Unions are always good for good way to keep things up there. And hopefully they get what they need to, what they deserve. Miss Marvel wins the TCA Award for Outstanding Achievement in Family Programming. So Marvel has another award-winning show, which, to all the haters that say that Marvel's falling apart, well, there you go. They have an award-winning show now, and you can just shut the hell up. Tubs, which is, I think I talked about these before. They are the newest little collectible now, which are rubber ducks that have makeup or costumes on, whatever, based on pop culture sort of things. A new batch of them include Hannibal Lecter, Carrie, Chucky, Poltergeist. Rubber duckies are due out here in time for Halloween. Speaking of, I guess I should have thought about that, but I'll get into the Halloween stuff. Fall Festival candy corn from Brock's. I've actually seen that at the grocery store. It's Fall Festival, so it's not your typical candy corn colors. It looks more like Easter colors, which is weird. And I guess fall festivals are just for, events that happen during the fall, but it just seems like kind of an odd new thing to have out there. They're like blues and greens, stuff like that, where fall is oranges and blacks and reds and whites and stuff like that. And this is more like, this is Easter sort of flavors, so or color. So and they still have the regular candy corn out there, but I guess if it tastes like candy corn, it doesn't matter what color it is, but still it just seems rather odd to me. Lowe's has an 8.6 foot tall killer clown inflatable you can put in your yard, but they decided to top that as well. Lowe's also has a 12-foot animatronic mummy you can put in your yard as well. And not to be outdone, Sam's Club has unveiled an inflatable Harry Potter castle for Halloween. Now it's not like 8-10 feet tall or whatever, but it's still a Halloween. It's still a Harry Potter castle sort of Halloween. I guess it's connected. That you can connect to Halloween, I suppose. So that's kind of cool about that. Red Dead Redemption, which was I talked about the Hitman video game core, is with them with their shows. Red Dead Redemption is going to get a re-release for the Switch and PS4, which has never been released on there before. I've seen some gameplays of it. It's really kind of an interesting sort of game set in the Old West with all kinds of weird stuff, so that's kind of cool. Doritos Late Night Loaded Taco chips are going to be out here very soon as well. Excuse me. Juneau, Alaska. I don't think I've ever talked about Juneau, Alaska on my show before, but Juneau has the worst ever glacial outburst flood, which destroys many homes and displaced many residents. Again, proving that there's some sort of weird climate change going on, because the glacial overflow is when the cold that Alaska has during the winter, when it finally all melts and the water starts rushing out. This is the biggest glacial, worst glacial outburst in a while. So hopefully all people in Juneau are okay right now. Is that all the stuff here? So just deaths this week. Also continued. William Friedkin, legendary director, directed The French Connection and The Exorcist and a few bunch of other stuff. He's got a movie coming out with Kiefer Sutherland later this year. Died this week. Sixto Rodriguez, the subject of Searching for Sugar Man documentary, dies at the age of 81 this week. DJ Casper, the creator of the Cha-Cha Slide, died at the age of 58 this week. And I'm sorry he's dead, but this guy has one of the coolest names ever. Zenon Andrushishin, Zenon Andrushishin, an NFL kicker, died at the age of 76. Zenon Andrushishin died at the age of 26, or 76 rather, excuse me. Anniversaries, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. We talked about Tim Burton, not Tim Burton, we talked about Paul Rubens last week and his death last week. His movie Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Tim Burton's first film he ever made, came out this week, 38 years ago. I think I saw it in movie theaters, to be honest. Young Guns 2, which is a underrated sequel, really good, with Emilio Estevez, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, Alan Rucks in this one, I think, also. Debuted in 1990, so 90, 2000, 2010, 2020, 33 years ago. In the Heat of the Night, the original one with Sidney Poitier and Carol O'Connor, about a racist police officer who has to work with a black lawyer or something like that. I forget what Sidney plays. Debuted in 1967, spun off into a TV show in the 1980s and early 90s. So 67, 77, 87, 97, 2007, 2017, 56 years ago this week. Howard the Duck, a half of a good movie, debuted in 1986. I know I saw that one in the movie theater when it came out. It was George Lucas. Howard the Duck looked really cool. I liked it. I enjoyed the first half of the movie. The second half sort of lost it for a while. I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it is. And it was before comic book movies were really becoming huge. Superman was really the only one that was happening at that time. And by that point, it was into the later parts of the Superman saga, which weren't as good. But Howard the Duck had potential. The script just let it down. 1986, so 86, 96, 2006, 2016. So 37 years ago, it came out. Everything on this page. All right, I got just a little half page here. Oh, geez, this is going to be another quick one, and then I'll be done. Okay, make sure I got everything. Yep, I did. Excellent. All right, so 514. All right. Lay's kettle cooked Ruffles, all dressed potato chips are coming out. That's like the potatoes that have everything on it, sour cream flavor, bacon, butter, whatever other flavors you can think of are coming out here soon. The live action Hunchback of Notre Dame movie appears to have been canceled. On the flip side, the live action Little Mermaid will be coming to Disney Plus on September 6th. Pokemon. Oh, that's going to be my last story because that's hilarious. Max loses 2 million subscribers after its rebrand. Couldn't have been a better company, the ones that backed that asshole Zack Snyder. Yes, I have to mention him at every show because he is a fucking asshole. Deaths this week. One more death this week. Mel Roach, a former Major League Baseball player, died at the age of 90. Anniversary, Spy Kids 2 came out 21 years ago. Not as good as the first Spy Kids. It was okay. Came out 21 years ago this week, and added Steve Buscemi to and Ricardo Montalban to the family as well. Unforgiven came out 31 years ago this week, went on to win the Oscar that year as well. And the final story for this week, a Pokemon fan creates a life-size coughing that emits real gas. Coughing is a poison Pokemon that is a big ball, face ball sort of thing that floats around, and it emits gas as it floats around because it's a poison type. This dude created a full-size coughing that shoots out real gas. That's fucking insane. That's incredible that they could do that, and it's really cool. So yeah, I think that's it. Oh crap, he did the update already. I don't want to do a passcode. Oh, I'll deal with this later. So I can't look at anything right now because they just did the update while I was doing this. So that's it for this week's show. Next week, as I said, we'll probably be on Saturday night again or early Sunday. We'll see because I'm going out to dinner with my dad and stepmom. So we'll see how that happens. But yeah, so that's that. Thanks for watching. And yeah, it was a quick one. I'm glad it was. And I can go to bed. All right, bye, guys. Thanks for watching.